So I think we can get started because I think we reached 10 minutes. So first, I think we can discuss the blockers for the current features and RFCs that we have. So um, I guess the first RFC is the sync table formats to multiple catalogs. Um, I think in the last meeting we were discussing the feedback for this one, but looks like there are no review comments since then. So, um, what do we think? Is this RFC is in a good shape to be merged, or does anyone have any other comments?
I think it's like in a good shape. I think one thing we can do right is um, if there are kind of active objections or issues found in people's testing, we can always make changes, and we can be diligent about like labeling those as a release blocker, for example.
Okay.
So I think we should make some progress. I think it's been more than a month
Yeah,
since any sort of comments back and forth have been on this. I have no real objections um, to this, so I think we should move on with it.
okay. Then I think, yeah, that was the first RFC that we had. The second one is the module restructuring. I guess even this one is we have like a draft PR already, and I think um, we are just waiting to see on how to package this thing. Um,
Yeah,
so Tim, do you want to just give a brief?
yeah. I think if people can make comments on it either way, I think I just have some kind of open questions here, and just from going through it as well, maybe we want to um, think about some like a structure of the repo, just purely aesthetics of like, do we want to, we have this XTable hoodie utilities thing. So like this gives us the catalog sync implementation that hoodie requires, and also some callbacks that are required for properly injecting like the field IDs into the Parquet files. So all of that stuff is like hoodie related. I think it may make sense for us to just draw like a larger hoodie module. But then looking for suggestions, one of the harder parts is, okay, how do we then name this? So we'd have some like XTable hoodie top level folder, and then like a hoodie, um, I don't know what we'd even call the sub module type of thing. But if people have suggestions, yeah, that'd be great. And then yeah, if we want to like suffix any of the naming, I think there was some initial comments from Ashton about the different versions of Iceberg, and like what will be like the continued support of those versions as they evolve. Like right now, everything will be kind of available, at least V1, V2, you can handle them both, and um, like the same Iceberg version we're using today. But once there's a V3, would we still be able to, what's that mean for V1? We don't, I think, have, at least folks here don't necessarily know. So if we want to like proactively try to get ahead of that, what would that look like in terms of naming conventions? Um, so
So,
yeah, I think also just one quick heads up, I'll probably be updating the hoodie dependency to O.15. There's some like minor issues with in the O.15. I think they removed some support for like Spark 2.4 or something, which then sets us up a little bit better. There's some like transitive stuff with on a really old version of Avro that then affects how those row classes are generated, which is causing some issues. So I'll probably be updating the hoodie version, just which has some library changes around like Hadoop configuration specifically. Um, so I'll probably be putting up a PR for that as well, just in preparation for the final restructuring here.
yeah, I'm actually okay in terms of having a different module per format. I feel that's the right way to go because the current model that we have is that like we are packaging everything into one, and yeah, it can even this existing bundle jar is huge, like close to 600 MB, and and yeah, it won't really uh, scale well if we basically say that you have to always include the 600 MB fat jar to work with XTable. So this new structure, I think, does give us the flexibility for the user to choose what they want rather than forcing the user to include everything. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I think those were the two in progress RFCs that we have. Then I think there is the delete vector translation uh, feature for Delta. So for this one, I think Ashwin pushed out a PR, but yeah, I think it would be better if this is done through an RFC. Ashwin is not here, but uh, yeah, okay. I think yeah, he actually agreed that he'll add an RFC with the core idea soon. Cool. Let's keep this as the status for this one then. Okay. Then this one is the other feature that we have where only a discussion thread was started. So This is about synchronizing the access control policies across catalogs. Um, I think in the last meeting we discussed about the need for this feature. So I think we just need to decide the next steps here. Um, I was thinking that like I I already have like a draft PR for this in my forked branch, so I can just publish that. So that would be like the RFC and the interface and models, and yeah, um, the community can review that over the next 2 weeks, and in the next meeting we can discuss the next steps for this one.
I think that sounds good. Yeah, let's get those. I think the models will probably lead to a lot of more discussion, just a little bit more tangible for people.
Okay. Yeah, so these are the features that we discussed last time. Oh, actually, there's another one for a utility tool for syncing Parquet files to all three formats. Okay, looks like Sudarshan didn't get a chance to update his PR yet, so still in the same state. Okay, so these are the updates on the features and the RFCs, I would say. Then, like a quick um, review on the action items from our last sync. So I think there was suggestions around adding like a community page on the website, which is available now, where you can uh, add this Google Meet to your calendar, and we also have like a Slack channel where you can ask questions asynchronously for the community. If this meeting is not in your suitable time zone or your PC during this time, you can always use this Slack channel to ask questions asynchronously, and people in the XTable community are open to answering your questions. And yeah, we also have the recordings of all the syncs available in the page, so that if you want to go back to any community sync and understand what happened, you can view the recording as well. Uh, yeah, there's one. I think there was one more action item of like a proposal for OSS Iceberg Summit. I think Ashwin was the one that posted, but yeah, looks like he's not there here. So I don't know if if anything was done here. Okay. So yeah, next is any pull request reviews that people have. I think yeah, we already have the ones which are pending from last time. So so these anyways, as there is no objective feedback on the RFC, so these PRs are like in a decent state to be accepted or merged. But yeah, uh, any other PRs that need to be reviewed or need attention, we can discuss in this meeting. I think one PR was this. There was this. So actually, let's combine both the GitHub issues and the recent pull requests that were opened. So there was one Delta issue regarding delete records that was filed. Um, uh, and uh, is this? Uh, but Tim, looks like you added comment. Do you want to just briefly explain what this issue is?
Yeah, basically, there's two things surfaced here when enabling the delta column mapping. I think one is on the initial schema, uh, the way the ID mapping works within the delta land is not the same as I think a more general one in terms of how lists are handled. So specifically, like the element within the list. I haven't looked into it in like depth, but yeah, like so the main issue on the one table side at least is that when we encounter um, a element that doesn't have an ID, we just start assigning it an ID starting at 0. But that's not actually the correct way to handle this edge case. If the other system doesn't have IDs on, I don't know, like it's like a multi-tier the listing, right? So uh, if the ID structure is just slightly different, we can't just like plug in 0 or 1, right? We have to use an ID that's unused to map it to the other system. But that may also have like longer term effects because now we're using IDs that may be used by Delta later. So like I don't really have a good idea as to how to solve that. But definitely something we need to look into. And then if you use the column ID mapping, basically what Delta is doing under the hood is assigning like on disk, if you will, you're having a Parquet file with a certain schema, with the fields having a like uh like a it's very close to like a UUID. And then you have like an alias to an actual name. So then therefore like the name can change. You don't have and you're just like referencing these fields, like the real like on disk pointer, if you will. Like so that presents more problems for us for like we don't have a good way to represent that currently in XTable at all. Um, but yeah, I definitely need to um, probably try this out. I think we could even just like enable the feature in our integration test and probably get the same error. Um, but yeah, I haven't spent much time trying to find a solution yet.
Got it. Yeah, I'm just reading about what is delta like column mapping and how different is it from iceberg's column mapping. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Then I think that was the only issue which was open since last month, I would say. Uh, Apart from that, uh, going over the pull request, I think Ashwin raised one for extracting delta lake deletion vectors. But yeah, I think this is still unclear on the chain. So I think it's better to do it with an RFC, as we discussed before. And there was another PR for delta source add record. Yeah, I think Tim has a minor comment on it. This needs to be addressed. Yeah. Yeah, I think these are the new pull requests or issues that we had since last 2 weeks. Uh, I think we have like more 15 minutes and it is open forum if users want to like people in the call want to discuss anything else. Jalpan, I think we can start with you as you are new here. Like
Yes. So yeah, a quick introduction from my end. I'm a lead staff software engineer at LinkedIn. I have a background with worked in AWS for 8 years in Spark and Hive and Hoodie and Iceberg team. So I was mainly looking for any starter issues to start contributing into XTable. It just piqued my attention. So I was skimming through it. I saw the open telemetry is still open. Do, do you guys know if someone is working on it or if any other issues that you guys think I can pick it? I'm more than happy to take it. I don't think I know of anyone working on that issue. I did label some as good. What is it? There's like a good first
first,
issue, right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I don't can't say I've also updated that in a long time. Um, yeah, so I skimmed through that first one, yeah, piqued my attention, but not sure if if this is occupied by Anu.
mm, so this issue is actually similar to the Parquet utility tool, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Extending for other formats like what's here.
yeah, I think there's yeah, very similar. Um, yeah, I think the open telemetry one could be good, especially if you have like a use case for it or familiarity. I think the idea was um being able to better profile like where time is being spent, especially is really useful. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Okay.
So I think in terms of the open source options that we have the Java Prometheus exporter, which I think can be used.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you know any other better alternatives, you, we
Yeah,
can use
sure.
that
I'll
as well.
say. Sure, sure. Yeah. So open telemetry niche is like a standard SDK that we can
Okay.
plug in, and then yeah, you can pipe in like a specific implementation. Mhm. Just makes it a little easier for people to integrate. Hmm.
Uh, so if you have that implementation, then people can plug in their Prometheus or CloudWatch or whatever they have, and implemented for that. Is that what it is on a high level? Or
Yeah, like so specifically like maybe a difference between this and just I think how we at least use Prometheus internally at one house is that you can add a concept of like traces. So instead of just having like timers or counters, gauges, whatever, you get like a you can build like a actual like execution kind of like lineage of you spent this much time here, and then collect samples and export those out. There's the one collector I think is open source from maybe it was Uber or something like Jaeger or something like that.
okay,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, remember it is
yeah,
Jaeger, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's more like I think like looking at that, but I think I know there's been like a handful of changes as well in that of trying to unify even more things. So I haven't spent time looking. Um, but yeah, you can plug in.
Yeah.
The idea being, yeah, you integrate with the telemetry library, and then open tracing. Sorry, Jaeger can just be your configured exporter of that data.
Okay. Uh, I think Jalpan, yeah, I think um, you
Yep. Yeah.
can start with this, and I think if you have better options, which are
Mhm.
being used internally elsewhere, and like in your company or in some other company that you work
Mhm.
for, you can even explore those options as well if they're open source, not
Yep.
closed source.
Yeah.
I think you can assign this issue also to yourself. Like, like I can't seem to assign it, but I think you can assign this to yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll assign it to myself. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think yeah, we actually have few other ones
Mhm.
as well, which are marked as I think enhancements.
I see.
So there was one airflow provider, yeah, for who made progress. Oh,
I think there's one other one. I'm just looking through. I don't know if this has been solved. There's this one may be significantly easier. It's this one about facing in the chat. I think the name not being propagated through when target syncing to HIDI tables.
Mhm.
That one's probably just like, oh, we forgot to pass the property through. Probably a one-liner or two-liner unit test.
okay, okay.
Um, Let me see if I can find any more.
Yeah, I'm tagged. So here, like, I can share you that particular file so that I think it even gives you the
Mhm.
opportunity to explore the code base as well.
Mhm.
You can, I think, pick this one as well if you're
This
interested.
is 494, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'll just add it to the agenda doc. We can discuss it in the next thing.
Mhm. Yep.
Let me just mark that. Um, I'm just looking if there are. Hey, Vaibhav.
Mm-hmm. It is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those two I think are
Mm-hmm.
probably the uh, good starter ones because I think the airflow one
Mm-hmm.
needs like a dev list approval and then only it can be added.
Got it. Got
So
it. Yep.
I think we can start on it
Yep.
if some users ask for
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay. I think we have like more 3 more minutes. Yeah, like Vaibhav, I think you joined most recently. Like, you have any other like you have any requests for the community or like you wanted to discuss anything?
Yes, I was actually trying to set up XTable in my local. So I was able to successfully able to write data to Iceberg and then convert using XTables by building charts and everything. But I was actually trying to work on like one of the issues. I don't have the PR handy as of now, but I was facing some issues like how can we suppose if I make a change in that run sync file run sync.java, how shall I test those changes locally? I mean, I know running the making the jar every time it would be time consuming. So I was thinking, I was talking to Ranga Reddy as well. He mentioned you can write some test cases, but even with that individual test cases as well, I was facing some issues. It was not working properly. So just wanted to know what would be the best way to make it work locally so that I'm able to work on that PR.
So which PR or issue are you talking about? I I
Uh,
actually you
one
can
sec.
link it.
Just a sec. I think we
Finish it.
have.
Hard to sync up today regarding this issue, but he is busy. Okay, we are not able to sync. Okay, maybe I can sync up either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. This is mainly related to the thought of implementing UI for the hex table instead of running from the command line, right? So same kind of operation like we can create a web UI. Okay, using that UI, we can perform like whatever the operation we are performing from the command line. I think
Uh,
these there are two issues. Yeah, have created a issue here.
yeah, so I think the issue 528. So within run
Okay.
sync method, he asked me to create the methods so that we have a more refactored code. I think over top of that, hopefully you guys would be building some sort of REST API or something because you want to integrate it with UI. This is what I've heard.
Yeah. Um, okay, got it. So uh, if you have like the draft PR also, like we can add review comments or like next steps on like how to test it or what to do. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
linking a PR I have. Had a similar issue of like this run sync has had no like integration test. So I set some up if you want to cherry pick some of that stuff just to uh, get it all working. Um, it just does like a basic, like runs through the flow, writes out some files, reads them, syncs once, checks that you can read back the result. But it's like very, I guess, the assertions are pretty coarse there. Like, it's just really high level. Does it produce a table that works? Um, so maybe that will help improve the iteration speed there. 'Cause, yeah, otherwise the only thing you can do is build that jar every time and like wipe out the converted metadata and run it again. Just not, yeah, very slow process.
I can tag you here. Same video. Vaibhav, you know the method already. Which one?
So this issue is related to the same one that I'm working on.
So
I think-
this test case basically awards you to build the jar, and like you can. So I think your problem is that like you have to build the jar and then run it, and you're facing problems in generating data and like whatever, right? So this test case basically helps you create a table, run like that, run sync tool, and then you can do whatever sessions you want. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, see, there was one test case already present under this rep only, under run sync only. So I was using that test case only, like just a single test case, but I was getting some of the other some build related errors uh, while I was running just a single test case as well. So there I was getting the problem basically.
yeah, that one I think is just a unit test for asserting that the YAML is parsed correctly. I
Mhm.
I don't think it actually like converts the thing. It only mocks it. So
Okay.
uh, I mean it would probably fail if you try to remove the mock or something. So I would say this test case is like the integration test sort of thing, which actually creates the table and you have data that is there in your local machine, which will be synced to the target.
Okay. Okay. So you're mentioning I can refer this to just see like how like
Yeah,
one test case could, and we can run using this Maven commands only, right? Like a single test case.
It'll also you can run it from like IntelliJ as well if you're using that.
Yes, yes, I'm using IntelliJ only.
Yeah, I would recommend just doing it from IntelliJ then. I think just double check. Yeah, it's project JDK is set to like Java 11.
Yes, yes, yes. Java 11 is there. Okay. Sure,
yeah.
I will
So
refer to this pair
uh,
as well.
if you're actually still facing any issues, you can just start a Slack thread in the dev Slack channel, and you can even
Sure,
add the exception trace or whatever you're facing. People can help.
sure, sure, sure. And maybe Rangareddy, if you are available tomorrow, if you can connect early morning, like 10 a.m., would that be okay for you?
Yeah, ping me. Okay, maybe if I'm free that time, right? Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
can sync up. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that would be helpful. And is this call regularly or like I'm joining this call for the first time, by the way?
Yeah, so we have a community sync that happens every 2 weeks, and you can add the Google Meet to your calendar.
Okay, okay,
So yeah,
sure.
it will happen every 2 weeks at this time.
Okay, got it.
Okay. I think yeah, we are over time as well, and I think we have covered everything. So see you guys again in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Fine.